For us this morning here at Talk 99.5, but it's been a blast. I guess we're not considered royalty yet, Legend.
Well, you are in my book, Kipper.
Oh,
You
thank
are in
you,
my
thank
book,
you.
bro.
We're back for the final hour of Dixon and Vining this morning. Kip Keefer, the legend from the Paul Feinbaum, making his news talk debut, and so far the reviews are in. Spectacular, sensational, groundbreaking. Legend, you were our big hit.
Well, I've done declared my candidacy for governor and then got impeached in the first 3 hours.
Man.
So I'm learning the full range of politics this morning. Great honor. Great honor.
We're having a big time. 205 545 9950. You were just reading a headline a moment ago that got my attention about the president of Iran. What did he just declare?
He just declared that he's at war with the United States of America. And I said to you, I hope he don't lead his next political campaign with that statement. I don't know how well that would go over with people, you know.
Well, let's talk about Trump accomplishments in that area. Right now, the United States against Iran in a war, I would make that point spread America about a, 250-point favorite.
Yeah, at least minus 310 on that one. I think Vegas would put it at about 310.
Yeah, so let's talk about the war with Iran to this point in this administration for Donald Trump. Of course, last time Trump was in office in 2016, he was at a dinner at Mar-a-Lago, excused himself for a few minutes. He was actually dining with the Chinese premier, and he excused himself. He had to go down to deal with a situation. They had seen the leader of the Iranian terrorist network was in a car, and Trump ordered a drone strike on that car and took him out in the time he had excused himself from his meal. And he came back and informed our biggest adversary in the world, we just eliminated one of the biggest terrorists in the country in the last 5 minutes. I'm sorry I had to excuse myself, which was a pretty subtle message to say, America's still the baddest guy on the planet. But Trump, in terms of the whole Middle East situation, made the decision and gave Iran a lot of opportunity, because when he was, and a lot of people think they have evidence too, that the assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania in 2024 was prompted by Iranian intervention. The intended assassin was a 20-year-old kid from Pennsylvania, but they still have not really given a lot of details on what his social media activities are and the people that he was contacted with. He had a bunch of encrypted stuff, really sophisticated things that we don't know the real answers to yet. But the bottom line is the Iranians' fingerprints were on some of that, and they did not want Donald Trump to come back into office. They feared him. They knew what he was capable of doing, and he was not going to be tolerant. But he came in with a whole different attitude about Iran this time, Legend. He said, okay, look, we're going to just try to sit down and negotiate and come up with solutions to the Middle East instead of, I'm tired of getting us involved in military conflicts. I don't want war. I want to be the president of peace. He has, by all reports, now on the verge of finally getting the Ukraine-Russian war settled. He's made huge strides in the Middle East to get all of those countries on board to pressure Hamas, the terrorist organization that was in charge of Gaza and causing all the trouble for the raid on Israel on October 7th of 2023. He has done a masterful job, and he gave the Iranians several deadlines to sit down and negotiate a settlement when they absolutely refused and continued to develop a nuclear program. Donald Trump goes, you're not going to have nuclear weapons. We're not going to allow that. That is not going to happen. You're the leading regime for terrorism in the country. You already sponsor 3 major terrorist organizations. And Donald Trump took the ultimate measure, Legend, back in July of this year. He sent a fleet of planes, the biggest bombers we had, and the mother of all bombs, These things are thousands of pounds each. Just to think you can transport a couple of bombs on each plane that size all the way across the world without drawing any attention. They didn't land to refuel. They refueled in the air. It was a 36-hour round-trip flight to Iran and back. They dropped those bombs with precision on that nuclear development, the 3 different places they were enriching uranium and building actual warheads, blew them to smithereens. Immediately, the Democrats said, well, this was not authorized by Congress. This was not appropriate measures. This was leadership, dude. That was what that was. And that was saying, okay, I tried to negotiate with you. We took these measures. I don't like Iran's chances in a scuffle with Donald Trump.
No, I would think that would be an ideal situation to just bow out and say, I shouldn't have opened my mouth. You know, that's like going in the ring with Mike Tyson in his prime when you're dealing with America and you just starting out in the boxing profession. You know, it's not a good idea to mess with the big bad wolf. And America is the big bad wolf when it has the leadership that it needs in this country. Kip, we got Dylan on the line waiting to talk to you this morning from Jasper, Alabama.
What's going on, Dylan?
Well, y'all know good.
Oh, man, we know a little bit about everything, just enough to be dangerous.
Oh, man, I was sitting here watching Fanatical podcasts, and I saw that my boy Legend is on 99.5 talking politics, and I'm like, oh hell, I got to get involved with this one.
Oh, I'm glad you did.
It's a shocker, brother. It's a shocker. People in Birmingham are waking up this morning saying, who is talking on Talk 99.5 talking politics? What's going on? We are in the twilight zone. Legend talking politics.
Man, I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be epic right here. Hey, if he talks about America like he talks about the Alabama Crimson Tide, oh baby,
well,
it's gonna be good.
And Dylan, the highlight of the show to me was with him saying, "This is like going from Biden to Trump was like Alabama going from Shula to Nick Saban." That's exactly right. Nailed it.
That is my thoughts exactly right there. I mean, but I'm going to tell you right now, I don't even think Shula could mess this country up as bad as what Joe Biden did.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, Shula was a genius compared to Joe Biden. At least he was conscious.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've been around people with dementia and issues like that right there, and he acted like that to a T. It's hard to explain. I don't ever wish that on anybody.
No, it's an awful thing, and
yes,
and for them to even talk about him running again, I mean, shame on his family, who and his second wife, Jill Biden. Dr. Jill Biden, because she's got a teaching degree.
Yeah, don't get that wrong.
Yeah, I don't want to insult the great Jill Biden, but they were gonna have him pose as president for 4 more years until the disastrous debate where he couldn't even get out a cogent thought. A couple times in that debate, it's still one of the great highlights of all time in a big event like that, when Trump goes, "Well, I don't understand anything he just said," and the real bad news is neither does he. So, yeah, that's just how bad it had gotten.
Giving Joe Biden 4 more years would be like the Colts giving Phillip Rivers 4 more years.
Yeah, 4 more years.
It wouldn't end well. It wouldn't end well.
But we got the brilliant Kamala Harris instead. So, she. Can imagine if she was in charge right now, where we'd be.
Well, I'm going to just go ahead and tell you, imagine if the situation in Butler, Pennsylvania would have worked, how
a few
terrible,
more inches.
How terrible, not even an eighth of an inch, an act of God.
Yeah, I always love when he says, Let's put up that beautiful chart from Butler, Pennsylvania. He was just turning his head a little bit to kind of look, make sure it was up on the screen behind him, and it saved his life. So he always says, that's my favorite chart of all time.
Well, since he's gotten in, I think he's done an incredible job. I mean, the economy is not where it's supposed to be, in my opinion. But it's getting there.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at gas prices right now from where it was. I remember when Russia invaded Ukraine and gas just started going through the roof. And I was like, dadgum, if he can just get it down to $2.50 a gallon, that'll help stimulate the economy. And now it's not even the year end, it's already below.
Yep.
So just think what he's going to be able to do, in year two.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Yes, he's done an incredible job. And you talk about Iran, man, they've been at war with us.
Yeah. All the way back to the hostage crisis during the Carter administration.
Yeah, what they do is they blow smoke. It's probably, I don't know when their elections are, even if they have elections.
Yeah, they're a joke.
But all that is right there is to get the, oh, I'm tough. Yeah, all that right there, and that'll get whoever in office. Iran, I'm not too concerned about them, but the Russia and Ukraine war, that war right there, it's gotta
stop.
It's gotta come to an end.
Well,
yes.
Over the weekend, he met with Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. Zelensky is an interesting character. He's hailed by some people in the media as some great heroic figure. He's a shady character, like a lot of people from that country, very corrupt in terms of their politics. But unfortunately, this conflict with Russia is such a horrible thing for the Ukrainian people. But Zelensky, in principle, agreed with the 20-point Trump plan to try and get this resolved. Now he's just got to break through with Putin. And if he doesn't, he's got one more big card to play, and that's basically bankrupting Russia, because he can impose such financial penalties on the rest of the world that anybody who does business with Russia, predominantly China, India, other places, if he punishes them economically for doing business with Russia, he'll strangle their economy to the point where they're going to have to back down, because they can't survive without with all these trading partners and selling their oil to finance all of their global initiatives.
Well, you just said about his final ace in the hole is to bankrupt Russia. I don't know if y'all have never heard of who I'm about to talk about, and I've listened to him a bunch. I agree with some things he says, and then again I don't in some ways. I know y'all have heard of InfoWars.
Oh yeah.
And what Alex Jones always says, that the globalist plan is to bankrupt Russia and separate and put it into, I think, 3 different territories, and that be their agenda right there.
Right.
And I just don't think it's going to work.
Yeah.
I mean,
to that degree, I don't know. The reorganization of that country is probably something that's not practical. But in terms of making their economy really difficult for them to function, that's been the key in the Middle East. That's why there's been so many countries turn on Iran, because Trump is gone, and a lot of these new generation of leaders that for years had fathers and other relatives running these countries, that would not talk about practicalities like business and prosperity. He's appealed to their nature of, all this war is just is a terrible waste of time. Let's be partners and make this region outstanding, and let's everybody make some money doing it. It's a real practical approach. That money's still the name of the game in the world. Anybody can fool themselves and think it's ideology. Follow the money. That's where it's going to lead you to a solution. Dylan, great to hear from you. Thanks for checking in with us. We appreciate all of your support. No matter what we're doing or where we are, we can always count on our man Dylan.
Man, Dylan always brings a great call. Thanks,
Thank
Dylan.
you, sir.
Thank you, brother. Man, you just said something about money. I remember there's a guy that calls in the phone, Andre. He says, money don't talk, it screams.
That's a great line. We got to go to break. We'll be right back after this short timeout. It's Talk 99.5, Kip and the Legend in for Val and Richard. Rolling along on a Monday morning on Talk 99.5. Kip Keefer back in the Talk 99.5 studio. If you missed the first hour, and I don't blame you if you did, that was back at 6 o'clock this morning.
Oh, my goodness.
Richard and Valerie and Steve that do this every day, 5 days a week, salute,
Wow.
because
Really, what a
man,
great job.
to come on the air at 6 a.m. and it's morning radio is really an interesting dynamic, Legend, because it's mostly a commute audience. I'm sure there's people listening on their computers or personal devices at home to some degree, but it's called morning drive for a reason. People will arrive at their destination, and in a 4-hour show, it's really kind of an interesting dynamic in radio. Do you have all new material for all 4 hours? We've tried to do that today. We started off kind of casual and got a lot of calls in the first couple hours, a lot of people in transit. But then you get into the second couple, and there's a part of me in a 4-hour show, which I'm used to doing 2 hours on sports radio. And there's always a lot of material, a lot of action there. But in this, you almost have the inclination to try to save some of your stuff for when you think the kind of peak audience time is going to be. But in morning radio, it's kind of hard to predict when that is.
Yeah, it really is, because a lot of folks have gotten to work. A lot of folks are on the way to work. And a lot of folks don't work. So
that's a lot more than used to be. Like
so
everybody who works
there, Kipper.
Everybody who works for the federal government.
They don't work.
Yeah.
So.
That stat blew me away when Trump said it earlier this year, that he had one of the first things he had Elon Musk Group do was to look at all of these different branches of our federal government, the Department of Education, Social Security, all of the Department of Energy, all these, the State Department. So many people in 2020 took advantage of that COVID situation, and they were ordered not to come to work, but then they never came back.
Must be nice.
It was like
sweet.
Only 17% of government workers were actually showing up every day for work. I mean, that's amazing. That means basically 4 out of 5 just didn't bother to come into the office anymore.
Living on keeper time, up at 10.
Yeah, exactly. Now here's my favorite part of all this. It is in the government shutdown, which we had another low light of this year. Earlier this year, the Democrats, supposedly to protest the fact that Republicans were not willing to make a deal on Obamacare subsidies. And for folks that don't understand what that means, Obamacare, of course, established as the crown great achievement of the Barack Obama administration to provide affordable health care for all Americans, which turned out to be a joke because it is completely unaffordable, and it is only still in existence because you and me and Legend and Steve, of money taken out of our check, is appropriated by Congress to be paid to insurance companies, subsidies for them to provide this coverage. So we're basically paying for health care that was supposed to be provided in Obamacare on an affordable basis. Anyway, the government shutdown, and real quick, we're running out of time, bottom of the hour. A congressman said, well, essential employees in the government will still be working during the shutdown. Well, if that's the case, are all the rest of them not essential? What the hell have we have a job for? We'll be back with more after this short timeout for the final half hour. Well, we're down to the final 30 minutes on this Monday morning. Kip Keefer in today for Richard and Valerie. I've got my main man, the legend of sports broadcasting fame from the Paul Feinbaum Show, 8-time caller of the year on the most prominent football sports program in the country. And Legend is showing you his diversity and his versatility, talking about America and economics and politics and foreign relations. He's done a great job today. It's been fun to have you in the studio.
Well, thanks so much for having me, Kip. It's totally different than sports, but I so enjoy politics, and I love talking about America, because we are the greatest nation in the world. Kip, we have Jimmy the Greek on the line when you're ready to go to it.
Oh, I thought Jimmy had gone to the next level. I'm glad he's still around. Morning, Jimmy.
Hey, good morning. Let me first say I love the show this morning. You guys are taking all the good calls. I just had to jump in late here.
Sure.
Talk about Bama football. Y'all need to make some predictions about how they're going to play against Indiana. I hadn't heard a whole lot of your comments about what you think. But anyway, let me go back to the old days, too. I grew up listening to John Forney,
yeah,
the voice of the true voice of Alabama. And long story short, my mother was a close friend of his wife, so I got to go over to their house, got to know his son, Little John Forney. He and I were best buddies, and I used to spend the night over at their house and had the best time. They had a cool old house, and they had a garage, one of those old separate garages with a little room up above the garage.
Oh, yeah, I love those, yeah.
Yeah, so we'd spend the night up in that room above the garage and hang out and talk football with the man,
Wow, how cool.
I know, it was cool. And my dad was he ran track at Alabama, was on the track team back in the 40s. So we used to get to go to all the home games. He was an A-club guy, and we got tickets to all the home games. Of course, we played in Legion Field a lot, which was a blast. But anyway, aside from that, yeah, I love Trump, what he's done for the economy. I do think, though, when you mentioned Harry Reid or whatever, I can't stand that guy. I never could.
Oh.
And his wealth. But, I do worry about this crypto thing that Trump took a side path on. I don't like that. His family's made $1 trillion off of crypto just in the last year.
I know it.
Which kind of puts him in that category with Harry Reid, unless he, of course, he's made his own wealth before that.
Yeah, I think they would have gone that direction. He certainly has endorsed policies and gotten the government more involved in it, so it has been to the self-interest of his family and his business. But I guess everybody else plays in that arena, so I guess he's dabbling in it too. But as long as he keeps doing things for the greater good of the country, I don't begrudge that too much. But I'm like you. I'm not comfortable with it. I don't really I like to think I'm pretty enlightened in this day and age. I've got sons in their 30s who can explain things to me, but I don't understand the whole crypto thing anyway. I need to have a better grasp of what it really entails.
Well, I mean, it's the vast majority of us. It's some kind of organized scam that crosses every country borders. So, I don't know. But going back to football, I want to get y'all's opinion about how can Alabama actually beat Indiana? I know Indiana's on this, they're, like y'all said, they're from out of nowhere one of the worst teams in the country over the last several decades, and now they're on top of the world. But they are good, and they don't have a lot of holes in their defense or their offense. So how are we going to punch our ticket and get to the next round? And I'll shut up and let y'all talk about that if you would.
Yeah, we'd love to.
Okay. Jimmy, I think what Alabama has to do, they have to come in and take the attitude that we are going to be physical and we're going to attack this team like we are the dominant team. When you look at these two rosters, Alabama is loaded with 5- and 4-star players, and Indiana is loaded with 3- and 2-star players. Now, they have become a great unit. They have developed a great concept. But at the end of the day, give me the best athlete over the least athlete. Alabama is the superior team when it comes to talent. They must come into this game and attack on defense. We must attack on offense, do away with this bend and break defense, and become the aggressor. We must go in this game thinking that we're favored by 10 and go into this game and dominate.
And, and the other thing I point out that it amazes me, I've been saying it all year. I'm sure everybody's sick of me saying it. It's not how you play or what you look like on the field. It's who you play. Alabama is so much more battle-tested for this game than Indiana. They have played a rigorous SEC schedule where every game, every week is a knockdown, drag-out brawl, while Indiana has tiptoed around. Their first 3 games of the season were against Kennesaw State, Old Dominion, both decent teams, but teams on a completely different level. And Indiana State, Larry Bird suited up for that game, I think, legend. He's the only famous player Indiana State ever had, but wrong sport. But that was their first 3 games. But like my partner, the First Lady of SEC football, Terry Quillian, says, in the Big Ten, the difference of the Big Ten and the Southeastern Conference is half the games you play that are conference games in the Big Ten are cupcake games. You've got Purdue and Maryland and Rutgers and Michigan State and Wisconsin and Minnesota and UCLA. These are all weak sisters. These are the teams they're playing. So, yes, statistically, they look great. They've got the Heisman Trophy quarterback. We had a great call yesterday on the morning after revealing the fact that Indiana's of Mendoza, the Heisman Trophy quarterback's season, 27 of his 33 touchdown passes this year have been on teams against teams with 4 wins or less. Against the premier teams, he has not had anywhere near that kind of success. So I think we put too much stock. We're just talking about the media trying to give you ideological spin to try to get you to the way of thinking. We've got all these Yankee Ivy League reporters, sports chicks now. Heather Dinich was absolutely right, the big college football playoff expert. She said that Penn State and Clemson will be playing in the postseason for all the marbles. Well, she called the game right for the matchup, but unfortunately it was in the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl, not the national championship. Both of those teams that she thought were superior ended up 7-6. So it depends on who you play. You can have great statistics. If Legend and I lined up right now with a bunch of 5th graders, we would probably dominate them statistically. But that means we wouldn't be favored against a group of 20-somethings. So I think you got to take all of this hype and all of this Yankee media, going over the top for Indiana and Ohio State. They've already got, just like your partner on the Fanatical was saying, just like they got the best win of the year. They beat number 1 Ohio State. Ohio State's played a worse schedule than Indiana. I want to see those teams against SEC teams. I think Alabama, you said it yesterday, Alabama has the Jimmies and Joes. Indiana has the Larrys and Moes.
It reminds me when I was in high school at Carbon Hill High School, and we were 28-3 one year, back before the high schools had the 1A through 6A. Everybody played each other. We were 28-3, and a newspaper guy wrote an article, best team, most fundamental team I ever seen play a high school basketball game. We went to Tuscaloosa and played Philip High, who had Enos Watley and Gerald Crosby, and we were down 66-13 at halftime.
Oh my gosh!
So much for the greatest fundamental. It depends on who you play. Indiana didn't play a Division I team to the 4th game of the season. How can you not have 50 touchdown passes? Come on, play somebody. Then talk to me.
It's not how you play, it's who you
Who you play.
And that's in college football, that really is the deal. We've got one more segment this morning on the program. We're going to start to wind it down, but once again, we'll be back tomorrow on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. We're bringing you to the end of the year as we get ready for a big New Year's and what I know is going to be a fabulous 2026. I can't wait to see where our country goes and see where Birmingham goes moving forward. We'll be back to wind it down and wrap it up right after this short timeout. Steve has been thrilling me throughout the show, Legend, with all this great bumper music.
Love it. He's got a great playlist.
I spend a lot of time lurking around my massive estate, which is not that massive, listening to classic rock and music from that era, and it's been great to be here in studio. If you missed the first hour, and once again, I don't blame you if you did, because it was at 6 a.m. this morning.
What time was that?
I just to kind of circle back to what I was talking about, where you don't want to repeat yourself, but this is the kind of time slot and format where I don't think you get a lot of people from start to finish for all 4 hours. So if you missed it, this studio has such special meaning to me because I was so lucky. The second person I met in Birmingham when I came here first in 1992 was Herb Winches. This was the studio for one of the first all sports formats in the country. When Herb Winches came to management here, it was called Dick Broadcasting back in those days. It was owned by the Dick family, and Herb brought them the idea of, why don't we do an all sports format? And they said, are you insane? Herb was a local TV guy. And all sports, that won't work. Well, it worked pretty well.
Pretty well, ain't it?
Jocks was one of the first all sports formats. It was right here in this studio. He worked with a guy named Ben Cook, who was a huge baseball guy, a great Alabama sports figure. And I was so fortunate to meet Herb right off the bat, introduced by Monty Ballard. And within about 2 weeks of me being in Birmingham, I was sitting in this studio guest hosting along with Herb when Ben was out, and vice versa when Herb would be gone. And what a great opportunity for me to come to a brand new place and immediately establish myself. And here I left for 4 or 5 years and came back, but I've been in Birmingham ever since. And this studio has such meaning for me, thinking back to those days and all of the times in the Talk 99.5 era, which this has become the studio for 99.5. Having the great privilege to host my own show with my beloved partner, Terry Quillian. We had the ride home, and we had an absolute blast on that show for a couple years in the late afternoon, proving that drive time extended beyond 6 o'clock. We were on 6 to 7 right after Leland, the highest rated show here on the air on 99.5. Leland's still at it every afternoon, with our great friend and cohort, AJ, who is a guy that's invaluable to Kip Keefer Sports right now. And this studio has such meaning for me. And now to have my man Legend sitting across from me, it's just been a special day.
Well, Jocks and Talk 99.5, it has become such a staple to the people of Birmingham. I mean, it's just something you can depend on and trust and enjoy, and I don't know what we would do without it. I really don't.
And props to Cumulus Corporate, because this is one of the few local talk stations still in this country. It's all become syndicated now. It's all become computerized. A lot of stations aren't even staffed with people anymore. It's all run remotely. With syndicated hosts. So Birmingham is really a distinguished and kind of unique market that local talk radio still exists.
Yeah, who wants to hear a computer when you can hear Kip and the Legend?
Absolutely. What are your thoughts on AI, artificial intelligence? A good way to kind of segue into tomorrow, because I'm going to talk tomorrow about some highlights from 2025. I've become acquainted now with ChatGPT and Grok, some of the services of AI. But what are your initial thoughts on it? Is this something that's going to advance society or something that's going to endanger it?
Well, I put in my name, Legend from the Feinbaum Show on Grok, and it called me a sports genius.
Oh, you gotta love that.
A creative sports genius. I said, man, this thing knows things I don't even know. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of scary in a way. And then again, in a way, it could be educational and revealing. I didn't know I was a creative genius until Grok told me.
That is outstanding. That's great. Good for Grok. He recognizes greatness. I got to tell you, because I don't make a secret of this, my vision is greatly impaired. I've had some issues with my optic nerves that really kind of limits my overall vision. I'm fortunate enough, things that are really, I'm looking up at the clock right now here in the studio, and it's clear as day. It's 9:53. But things that are not that detailed are difficult for my receptors, since the optic nerve are basically the antenna up to the brain. My eyes are fine, but what transmits is flawed. With that being said, artificial intelligence, I have found, ChatGPT to be an unbelievable resource. It's so difficult for me to do research on any subject I want to learn about, and I'm a voracious reader. Audio books and just being able to ask ChatGPT, tell me about the history of so-and-so, or how did this come to be, or what is the, who's in charge of, you ask it a question. It has been a tremendous tool for me in this calendar year of learning how to use that, and it's increased my ability to do research. And I think that's the great upside of it, that it's just a great possible resource. And this can do things like, cut through because it's a compilation of all of this data and all this information, and it can just instantly weave through all that and give you a direct answer.
I just hope it ain't like Will Smith and I, Robot,
Yes.
where it turns on us.
Yeah.
And one day you wake up and your computer is telling you, Legend, you are under arrest.
Yes. Well, there's a movie coming out now about artificial intelligence being the judge and jury, that you can be accused of a crime and you have to prove to artificial intelligence. This movie's coming out. I forgot what it's called. But you have to prove your innocence or it instantly executes you.
Oh, my goodness. It can be scary. It can really be scary.
And here's the other downside I see to it. And we can talk more about this tomorrow because we're going to be back at 6 o'clock filling in for Richard and Valerie. But my fear is we already are living in a further and further impersonal society. It's all social media and interaction. I don't think people talk to each other directly much anymore. And now people are starting to depend on these AI services because the voice is reassuring and seems to be, it's like a personal relationship. I hope this doesn't replace human interaction, depending on a machine, a soulless machine for companionship and even romance.
Yeah, you had the movie out about the Phoenix guy who fell in love with the voice on his computer,
Yep.
So, I think I'm going to go home and talk to my computer. See
Yeah.
Hey, babe, what's going on today?
Well, I've got great experience with failed relationships in real life, so I might as well see if I can alienate and piss off the
Grok world.
If they'll have nothing to do with me, then I know that I'm gonna know right then that I've been the problem all along.
If the computer turns on you, it's over with. It's over with.
Oh boy! So as we wind it down, it's been a lot of fun. We've heard from some classic callers and some great opinions. I'm so optimistic going into this coming year. I'm going to talk about one thing I'm not optimistic about, though, tomorrow.
Uh-oh.
2026, we are going to be hosting, this is a little teaser for tomorrow, because I'm not shy on this subject, Legend. We are, the United States, along in a partnership with Mexico and Canada, North America is hosting the world in 2026 for the World Cup soccer tournament.
The what?
The World Cup. The whole world's coming to America. We're going to have millions of people coming to watch soccer. Donald Trump said this is going to be like having 104 Super Bowls next year. I guess Donald has not sat down and tried to watch a soccer game. I'm just going to say it. I'm sorry if I offend anybody. And especially hot soccer moms out there, this is not directed at your kids. I think soccer is a stupid game. It's a great game for 9 and 10-year-olds. It gets them exercise. It gets them outside, gets them off their computer screens. But for grown-ups, soccer sucks. I'm sorry. I don't like the game. I don't like the fact that nobody scores. I just don't like the game at all. And the worst thing about it is I don't like it because America is lousy at it. We've got 340 million people in this country. We can't find 25 guys who can run and kick a ball. We suck on the world stage. Until America becomes relevant, I'm not going to watch soccer.
I'm with you. I just dislike soccer. I've always disliked soccer ever since Mike Pear kicked the soccer ball and hit me in the head on the field.
Is that what happened?
That's what happened. I think that brain cell's still loose up there. But ever since then, I said, this is the stupidest game I ever seen in my life.
You know, I can go on for hours by problems with the game. I've got friends who are just seriously into it. Well, you've never been over to England and seen one of the Premier League matches. I said, thank God. The great Al Del Greco, who worked here at Cumulus over on the jock side, Al once told Tony and I, it's not the scoring that's exciting, it's the chance to score. I just don't understand that kind of logic.
Sounds like my romantic life. I never score.
Yeah, that's right.
There's a chance, Lefty.
And I've had very few chances to score. I haven't correlated soccer to romance, but it's a good comparison. We'll be back tomorrow, 6 o'clock. Thank you to Steve West. Hope Valerie and Richard are having a great week off, and we have been privileged to come into your radios or your devices, however you listen to us this morning. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock, right here on Talk 99.5